Hello and welcome to Surprise Radio. I'm your host, Surprise, and today I'm doing an interview with spell-of-enchantress, singer, composer, and songwriter Sermilion. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. This is very cool. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
And I guess I could have begun by saying bonjour, je m'appelle Surprise. Comment allez-vous?
If Katya was here, yes, but I don't speak French.
Oh no. Well, I did
But I
see that you
understood.
do sing. I did see that you do sing in French sometimes, or the band is sings in French, correct?
Yeah, exactly. We throw a little bits of French lyrics to a few songs.
Oh, good. I
I
pretty
think
much
it,
just exhausted all of my French knowledge just now for
well, that's more than mine, so kudos there.
And where are you based out of?
So I'm in Germany and Kathy is in France. Yeah,
Okay.
and we work remotely basically, as it is trendy nowadays.
Oh, there's been plenty
So
of bands that have begun remotely, work remotely, and pretty much have to, except for if they're going to play together these days. So that's the beauty of the internet. How long have you been
yeah,
together?
and that's I think like 3 years or
Okay.
2 years. When we started, I lived in Ireland yet, and then I was in Florida as well, and we've continued working, and I think it's like maybe even 3 years.
And you just released your first album on December 1st, correct?
Yes, it's our first album, and we even made a physical CD release in limited quantity of 50. It was just something that we thought, hey, if there are a few people who would want to buy it, then let's see. And we got like so many pre-orders, well, so many relatively speaking, depending if there are 50 CDs. So we got pre-orders and people buy stuff digitally. It's been amazing. Actually, I didn't expect it, but it's been a very interesting, experience to do a physical release and actually having a CD sitting right there, your own thing. It just feels very special.
Very cool. So tell me about your influences and heroes.
Oh man, I'm all over actually. If like I started by listening to some just rock music, continued I guess with the heavier stuff probably was Linkin Park, Rammstein, and Limp Bizkit, things like that, because it was very difficult to access like any kind of heavy music at that time. And then I got introduced to like Apocalyptica, Tristania, Children of Bodom, things like that, when I was 12 or 13 years old, I guess. And it just continued from there. And I have many influences. I have my own projects as well. I have like five in total, and they're all different genres, starting from melodic death metal, continuing with like modern progressive gent, and Gothic Doom that you see. But for this particular project, it's definitely Tristania, My Dying Bride, and bands like that.
And so that album is called Lost Prayers of Those Forever Gone, correct?
Yes.
And tell me some of your favorite bits and pieces from that album. Some parts that you're really proud of, be it just an arrangement that you put together or some lyrics that you wrote.
As a whole, the album itself, the whole thing I'm very proud of because I'm not a musician. I started just writing all of this. I started trying this for real in like 3 years ago when I was in Ireland. And actually, it's interesting that I was going to give up on music at all. It's not like I've ever done anything, but I had this guitar sitting around for like 10, 15 years, and I never did anything with it. And I was thinking, hey, I'm gonna sell it, but I decided not to do that, and started from there. So just the bare fact that this album is complete and it's like I really like it, it's achievement for myself. But my personally, I really like the song itself. It's called Spell-of-Enchantress, and especially like the bridge part there. I think the arrangement is very beautiful. Um, and just in general, the way we managed to mix the female and male growl vocals together, how we alternate them. It's nothing new. Like people have done it 1,000 times, but still, I really enjoy it. Like considering that we could achieve it and in a good quality, I guess.
Now I know that this is an um, original songs project, but I ask everybody if there's a cover that you'd like to do. So I guess I'd ask if you were going to do one that would fit this band. What are some that you might choose?
It's definitely going to be something from Tristania, and my first suggestion would be Midwinter Tears or Pale Enchantress, for example. But I know that Katya really likes Cradle of Fields and Within Temptation, for example, which I cannot name songs from Within Temptation. I just listen to them as a matter of fact, like if they're in playlist, I would listen to them. Um, yeah, but it's definitely from my side would be those two, Midwinter Tears or Pale Enchantress.
So I know that you say that you work remotely. So have y'all played live together at all?
We haven't even met once
Oh,
in real
okay.
life. Yeah, but it is been a long time coming thing. Like we really wanna at some point, meet up and arrange something maybe in Paris. There are unique challenges when you work like this. While it's easy to work together to write songs maybe, but then you try to think about live performance, and it becomes impossible almost unless you got some money, to hire people and arrange everything. But it's definitely on the table, and this is going to be one of the next things that we're gonna think about doing and how it's going to be done if people, especially if people demand it, if they really wanna this to happen.
So I know that you said that y'all are pretty new, only about 3 years old. You have a lot of goals still to achieve, but what is something that you would definitely want to tell your fans, just in general, about Spell of Enchantress?
I would say that I'm definitely very pleasantly surprised by the how people accepted the record and the whole thing. Like I don't know, like a lot of people might have say, "Hey, you just copycatting," or like this genre is dead, like what you're trying to do. But I haven't heard anything like this, and it was on the contrary, people saying like, "Hey, this sounds like Tristania. Hey, this sounds like this one. This is so cool." Like they really appreciate this old sound that we're trying to bring back. And I think that's really says something because I guess a lot of musicians would try to follow what is popular at the moment, and it makes sense, you like if you ask me, having a band, making a music, it's a job as well. You want to make money on that, and that's fine. But with us is a little bit different because we obviously don't make any money from this. So we have full creative freedom and we do what we like to do. And I want to say to the fans, like, thank you for actually being that accepting, and thank you for showing that there's no such thing as a dead genre of music. If you play it, if you make it, there will be people that like it. There will be people that remember about it and will come back to it. And I hope a lot of bands start doing that again.
So I see that you in your album don't have any songs that are less than 6 minutes long. And in this day and age, it feels like everybody's just trying to make really short and sweet songs. Do you have any thoughts on the difficulties in making sure that your songs, I mean, do you like aim for a specific time or is it just how things work out? Talk about some of that with me.
That's a good question. I really like this one. Um, I never had, I never set an aim for myself to make a song 4 minutes or 6 minutes or 8 minutes. It's just when I start writing the music, I don't even think about it. It just, like some time, some riff comes to my head. I go behind my computer, I start recording the guitar, and it just goes from there. And it feels natural for me to progress, and I continue composing that song until it makes sense to me. Because if I try to fit it inside of 3 or 4 minutes, for example, I just a lot of times I feel it's incomplete, and especially given the genre of music itself, it's a lot of atmospheric parts there. There are a lot of build-ups and things like that. Like if you even listen to the song Spell of Enchantress, it has like 1 minute, 30 seconds build-up and then it starts. And I just can't imagine that song without that intro of 1 minute 30 seconds. It would have a different vibe. So yeah, like if you listen to to my other projects, for example, I have this post-rock project called Echo of Hiroshima. I have a song that is 12 minutes long and it's just instrumental. There are no words, nothing. And yeah, it just becomes what I feel natural, how I feel about the song, that's how it goes. And it just turns out for this particular genre, it's always like over 6, 7 minutes. But if we take in contrast my other project, Exogram, which is like progressive gent, it's pretty standard, 4 minutes, 4:30, 4:20. So I don't never have a particular aim basically of the length.
So, if you were to try and describe your music in this specific band to somebody that you're trying to get to listen to you, for
Mhm.
example, how would you describe Spell of Enchantress to a potential listener?
I would say it's the 90s doom gothic metal in all its beauty, the same way as you remembered it before. That would be the perfect description, I would say,
Now,
just to get you introduced to that, to the idea of what you're going to be listening. But at the same time, it's easy to describe it like that, and you might think, hey, I'm gonna hear the same thing, but it's actually not. I'm a bit sneaky with my music. While it is that mood that I just explained, I always try to add my own thing, something new, something maybe not as common in that genre. For example, even the song Spell of Enchanters, the intro of that song, it's more of a stoner doom metal, or a stoner rock if you really listen about it. If you remove that church bell, it is the stoner doom, basically. You might think like they probably not don't go together that well, but hey, they do, and I try to introduce my own little things there as well. And who knows, in 1, 2 albums, maybe it's the sound going to change completely. I don't know. Again, it's all about how I feel about that project. So I can't tell you that we're gonna have 5 albums that sound exactly the same like Tristania.
now I know that you stay pretty busy. Like you said, you have several music forays out there. Is there anything that you do outside of music that you really enjoy? Are there any TV shows or movies, books, games, things like that that you're really into?
I play Dota 2 or Dota in general from 2004, I think. So I'm a real veteran in there. So that's one of my things that I do. And of course, like PlayStation, Xbox, I really enjoy RPGs. I'm a Bethesda fanboy, Fallout and Skyrim, things like that. And I'm into biking as well. I have a very cool gravel bike. And now it's cold, of course, but before I used to go to like 90 kilometers long rides like once a week and every day like 25, 30 kilometers daily. So I really, really enjoy that part as well.
So
And
anybody,
because,
oh, sorry,
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
I mean, because I'm a programmer, I'm a software developer, I work on my own projects. I consider it my hobby as well. I really enjoy programming as well. So I'm a pretty busy guy. So from the morning till I go to sleep, I am always doing something. And most of the time, I'm combining those things. If I'm watching something, I'm gonna either program or do something else.
Have you ever thought about, since you're programming, do you think about programming or creating a music video computer generated?
Um, I did something with AI for my other project, Hexagram. It's very lazy, just a few short AI generated clips, but I think it looks pretty good actually. Um, who knows? The technology, technology develops so fast actually, and um, I I'm so excited for the next 10 years, what it's gonna bring to us.
So anybody watching this is seeing that you're not on the screen. That's because you choose to stay anonymous. Is that correct?
Yes, there are reasons for that because it's just safer for me as well. The music that we make is not accepted in my culture, where I'm originally from, and I just yeah, decided not to put myself out there.
That's totally
And
understandable.
I I'm sure if someone really wants to find me, they will know who I am. But at least to do the bare minimum. That's how I chose it.
Of course, I just wanted our viewers to understand exactly that this was a choice and that it's respected. Do
Thank
you
you.
have any sponsors or anybody like that that you want to shout out?
Only our listeners. It's all because of them we could even release the CD. Without them, it would be like very expensive. Like, you know, it's not it for someone maybe like 500 or something like that is not that much, but like we couldn't spare that much money for a CD. But because people were, buying our digital releases and things like that. Only because of them we were able to release this CD, and I'm very grateful for that, because I kind of feel like it is more something for me than for the person who bought the CD, because they can easily go to Spotify and listen to it, but they not gonna have this experience of the same experience as I had when I hold my own CD in my hands, and I feel like they are doing this for me and for Kathy, as a thank you, as a gift. Hey, we're gonna buy this, we're gonna help you so you have this CD that you made, and I'm really thankful to everyone for granting me this experience.
I can say that personally, of course, I'm a little bit older, so I grew up in the age of CDs, but I personally just love to actually have a copy of the CD because I'm just of the mind that you never know one of these days all these digital things that you have somewhere just might be gone and then you won't have the physical CD anymore to enjoy. But also another reason for doing that is, you bring up a good point. Everybody that's on my show, everybody that I feature, and everybody that I interview is all doing this independently, and it can't be done without your help out there. So if you're watching and you're enjoying the music, make sure that you support these bands as much as you can, and especially somebody that isn't touring or playing live like Spell-of-Enchantress currently is not. Buying things digitally and from their website really helps them out. So I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah, thank you. And just to add to that CD thing, with everything digital, you don't really even owe this digital thing. You owe a license to that, and it can be reverted anytime. And companies go in and out every day. If tomorrow Spotify stop existing, you don't have your music unless you go to the other streaming service. So I really understand that mindset as well, and especially if there's something that you really, really like, if there's a band that you really, really like, having a CD of that is like keeping a piece of a history forever with you, as long as you can reproduce that, be it a tape or a CD or any other form. So I agree in that regard as well.
Yeah, I'll never forget when I saw Flyleaf and Resident Hero was opening for them, and they stood outside and gave away free EPs and signed them for everybody. And I just thought that was so cool. And so to this day, when I pick that physical CD up, I remember them standing out there and doing that. So that's absolutely true.
That's very cool, yeah.
And so before we go, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Um, yeah, first of all, thank you for inviting me, for inviting us here, and I hope you enjoyed this talk as much as I did.
Absolutely.
And of course, it's you know, just because you invited us here, it's gonna give us some publicity, and I really appreciate it. And again, thanks for everyone who listening to us, everyone who enjoys our music, and like writes a comments. It's just so cool, like I didn't expect to be in this situation, to be honest, because even right when I started writing music, it was just something for myself. And then Katy comes around and this all happens. So thank you, you personally, thank you to your viewers, and thank you for our listeners as well. It's really amazing what you've made possible for us.
Absolutely. We appreciate you too. Sermilion, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This was wonderful, and I hope that you continue to have success with your CD and in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.